Please go ahead, sir. We are live.
Good evening, all of you. Good evening to this wonderful webinar. I am Neeraj Arora, Senior Director at ASSOCHAM, and I look after the GEM Green Building Certification Program of ASSOCHAM. This is a very proud moment for us that today we have invited you all to this wonderful webinar, and this is a proud moment for all of us because today we are going to install our ASSOCHAM GEM West Bengal Green Building Certification Chapter under the pious presence of Honorable Minister Shri Firhad Hakim ji, who is the Honorable Minister, Urban Development and Municipal Affairs, Government of West Bengal. Namaskar, sir. Namaskar. In your presence, we are going to install ASSOCHAM's GEM Green Building Certification Chapter. We have with us a very good line of speakers today for the wonderful technical sessions. And we have with us Ms. Parminderjeet Kaur, who is the Regional Director of ASSOCHAM Eastern and Northeastern Region. We have Sri Taranjit Singh ji, who is the Co-Chairman of Eastern and East Region. We have with us Mr. Pankaj Dharkar, who is the National Chairman of ASSOCHAM's GEM Green Building Council. Architect Tushar Suganiji, who is the Chairman of ASSOCHAM GEM Rajasthan Council. We have with us Architect Devatosh Sahu, who is the Principal Architect of East Space Kolkata, and Ms. Anupama Mitra, Mr. Krishan C. Singhal, Mr. Girish David, Professor Tuhin Ghosh, and excellent team from GEM West Bengal, sir. Now I would request Parminderjeet ji to give the welcome address to Honorable Minister Shri Firhad Hakim ji. Madam, over to you, please.
Thank you, Neeraj. Very good afternoon, Honorable Minister, sir. Eminent Speaker, National GEM Council Chairman Pankaj Dharkar ji, and the special guests who have joined us today. It is indeed a great privilege for me to be part of this wonderful gathering today and to have an opportunity to welcome you all, to welcome Honorable Minister. Special welcome to Shri Devatosh Sahu ji. As we all are here in this virtual conference, we all have experienced that last 3-4 months have been with this lockdown. So we have been through this journey of facing the pandemic, facing the lockdown where everything has been shut. Now, as the economy is slowly reviving and things are opening up, there are certain key messages which we all have got from this experience of last 3-4 months. There are certain key lessons we can say we've got from this lockdown situation which we have had. There are certain positives in the sense that it has made us more resilient. It has brought in certain togetherness in us that we can fight things together. And if we look at from the perspective of today's forum and today's purpose, this lockdown has actually given us a little respite from all the pollution which we were facing in the cities especially. So, but this temporary phase of, clean air and no noise pollution and no road pollution and everything is actually a very temporary, and this is not really the way. We need to come forward, we need to work that we make this more sustainable. Having this joyous moment of Himalaya being visible from a city where it was never visible, or having no traffic on the street, having a clean Ganga, clean Yamuna. So these are momentary joys we had, but we need to work and see that after this outbreak is over and the new normal is adopted by all of us, we invest our time and our resources and our money, and we all commit ourselves so that we ramp out the old fossil fuel based intensive industry and we go for more sustainable options. Yes, certainly for everyone today the priority is to clear out or come out of this big crisis which we are having, but we certainly need to have a focused approach towards a sustainable energy and a water efficiency arrangements or solutions. We are really proud today that we are having an opportunity of opening up a West Bengal chapter of GEM Green Building Certification Program of ASSOCHAM. And we are honored and privileged that Honorable Minister Sir has given time from his busy schedule to be part of this gathering with all the guests who have joined us from Rajasthan or Gujarat and other parts of the country. West Bengal is a state which has been a pioneer state in terms of conservation, saving the energy, believing in green building, green environment, and sustainable water and energy solutions. We have Green New Town project. New Town is a pride which West Bengal takes. And it's not just the current scenario. If we look at the history, our history has shown us the path. From the time of Guru Rabindranath, we have seen how much he loved greeneriness, how much he loved nature, and he taught the importance of protecting nature, protecting the environment and the greenery all around. So what we have learned from him or acquired traditionally, we need to safeguard that. We need to work more harder and not just get lost in our daily rituals and daily routines of 9 to 5 and forget the environment. We need to be more responsible. And I'm sure under the leadership of our newly found chairperson for the region, Devatosh Sahuji, we shall be certainly working in this dimension and taking things forward. On behalf of our co-chairman, Shri Taranjeet Singh ji, and our chairman and the council regional member, our president, I take this privilege to welcome Honorable Minister Sir. Sir, there are no words to say what you have done for this city. You have been very particular and you have been promoting that pollution need to be curtailed and the environment of the city need to be protected. You have taken the drives under your leadership. We know, we have seen that there are drives of planting and green trees is going on, and waste management has been well planned under your leadership. Ban on plastic. There are so many things which you have taken as initiatives to make this city more green and wonderful place for our future generations to come. So, sir, once again, an honor and a privilege, and we welcome you to this August gathering of our experts from the various parts of the country. And with these few words, now I will pass it on back to Neeraj ji.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am, for this wonderful message of yours. Definitely, after Amphan, Honorable Chief Minister also requested the audience from Kolkata that plant trees, save green and save earth. So she gave this message after Amphan. So definitely, this is our responsibility to save green and trees so that we can save our earth. Now we have with us Mr. Pankaj Dharkar, who is the National Chairman of ASSOCHAM GEM Green Building Council, who is the President of Pankaj Dharkar Associates, renowned MEP and fire consultant designer from Ahmedabad, Gujarat. Pankaj Dharkar, please tell us all about green and share your wonderful thoughts.
Good evening. Amit, can I get the share?
Good evening, sir. Yes, Anup, please, sir.
Good evening, Kolkata, and what a pleasure to have Mr. Firhad Hakim ji, Minister of Urban Development and Municipal Affairs, Government of West Bengal, a very able and learned personality. We all know in India the kind of initiatives he has initiated for West Bengal and city of Calcutta. So we are really honored, sir, with your presence. Thank you, Paramjit Singh Kaurji, for a good start briefing us about ASSOCHAM. Thanks to Devatosh Sahuji for putting us together along with Tusharji, a wonderful dream team to start for such a great chapter, which is going to be rising star for us from east of India. And I'm delighted to have Anupam Mitraji, Krishna Singalji, Girish Davidji, and Professor Tushar Suganiji as our eminent speakers for the day. I think this is going to be a wonderful evening and a memorable evening for all of us as we proceed. I think
We can see.
are you able to see my screen? Sorry.
So, we can see, sir. Yeah, we can see.
Yeah, well, as Madam just said, in the words of Rabindranath Tagore, the one who plants trees, knowing that he will never sit in their shade, has the least started to understand the meaning of life, said great Rabindranath Tagore. So Tagore not only wrote extensively on the man relationship with the environment, but also implemented it by creating Shanti Niketan surrounded by greenery on all sides, which is an example for the whole world in terms of the relationship between nature and human beings. He was an environmental pioneer and sought harmony between progress and preservation. Friends, ASSOCHAM has taken a green initiative to take care of Mother Earth and to complement in India's sustainability movement and formed Council for Green and Eco-Friendly Movement, CGEM, that executes the GEM Sustainability Certification Program with objective to promote environment-friendly green building design and construction. We are backed by 400 chambers of trade associations with 4.5 lakhs members from over the India and working towards creating a conducive environment of India business to compete globally. ASSOCHAM has a very important role on development of MSMEs and SMEs of the country. We are blessed with our dynamic leader currently headed by Niranjan Hiranandaniji, who is founder and director of Hiranandani Group of Companies from Mumbai, and ably supported by Mr. Vineet Agarwalji, our senior vice president. Also, we had very dynamic leader Balkrishna Goenkaji as our associate immediate past president, and currently we are supported by Secretary General Deepak Soodji, who was to be with us, but for his health he is not with us, but he sends his greeting to you. Friends, the GEM certification program we have a wonderful program which with a very simple and innovative reference guide. I will urge all my delegates today to go through this. The complete guide is based on, our program is based on ECBC 2017 and National Building Code. We are indeed proud of two documents created by India, and they are one of the global best. And this program includes sustainability, energy and water efficiency. This is the only program in the world which also deals with and gives credit to fire and life safety. We believe that building has to be energy efficient, it has to be green, but at the same time it should be safe and livable. And of course, post-COVID, we are now adding to it absolutely infection-free credits also, which will take us to fight the pandemic of futures. So it also addresses more green areas, indoor air quality, daylight, fresh air and human comfort. And as I said, it is based on ECBC 2017 and NBC 2016. The GEM certification has 5 rating systems, starting from GEM 1 to GEM 5. GEM 5 being the best. We are covering housing, urban development, commercial, hotels, offices, schools, colleges, universities, factories, and the new addition is going to be healthcare facilities and warehousing, which are the growing areas in the field. Our certification is very, very simple, affordable. It recognizes the India's best buildings, and the program addresses fire and life safety. We do believe all green building certified buildings will easily give 3 to 4 years payback. And we all know that the buildings are created for 50 years plus time. So this is something which is not at all a cost on any project, and we believe the initiatives being taken in West Bengal and West Bengal government needs to be taken forward across the country in various states. We are very proud that ASSOCHAM is monitoring the buildings 24/7 on the energy use, indoor air quality, and water consumption, which are the three important parameters. And it is also going to give additional service on fire and life safety signal if it comes from any certified building. So, and this we are doing at a cost of 15,000 rupees a month, which is going to be a absolutely takeaway. But what this is going to do is creating a data for future, because currently we do not have data of certified buildings in the country, and this is what is going to probably help the next generation to design more efficient and also help architects to design more passive architecture of the future. We have in place MOUs with ISHRE, Indian Society of Heating Refrigerating Engineers, Fire and Security Association of India, International Association of Air Quality, which is IAQA. We have in place American Society of Heating Refrigerating Engineer, ASHRE India's chapters, Smart Habitat Foundation, and GACS, which deals with various facility managers of the country, more than 4,500 members. For any certified buildings, we do issue the certification and also the plan. We have a very good program of Jain Sustainability Program, which certifies the engineers and architects. In fact, today only in the morning, we had two MOUs, one from Bangalore College and another from Pune College, and we are ensuring that this gets percolated to the student community, because these are the future leaders of our country, and we want sustainability to get into root of this profession. Currently, we have certified several projects, which includes Abbott Pharmaceutical as Pharma Project, JK Cement Factory, Siemens, and several universities, including Star Hotels of ITC and Hilton. We had done several physical programs. Probably this could have been a one-to-one program like this. We started with Chandigarh program last time, then Rajasthan, then Gujarat, and of course UP on 4th June was a similar digital installation program. Today we are going to install this important chapter for ASSOCHAM GEM, and of course very soon we are going to Karnataka, Chhattisgarh and Maharashtra, and sooner we will also reach other states of Madhya Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, and Telangana and northeastern regions. I am also blessed with very dynamic leader Tushar Suganiji, who is also promised me that we will be going to adjoining countries also to create sustainability. Hakim sir, we have created a very unique program post lockdown. The buildings have gone to sudden lockdown on 22nd of June, 22nd of March, and many projects are restarting after 3 months of lapse. So ASSOCHAM with engineering societies like ISHRE, FSAI, EMA, and GACS have come forward and helped government to form these guidelines, which are very important as we restart operations. The engineering services and the fire services are going to be very crucial. So this document is now being circulated across the country, and a lot of governments are supporting us. With a Smart Habitat Center, we have just come up with the 10th webinar series. 10th will be our last series, and several thousand of people took advantage. During this lockdown, we have done several programs across the country on various webinars. You will see from here total 19 programs with 26,819 registration and more than 15,000 taking advantage of all these programs. We are coming up with several important programs in this week itself. You can see, including employability potential for new generations, which is going to be a unique program, along with the important program with architectural community on 10th of July. We did sign MOUs with several universities in last 1 month time. This was in Jalgaon, followed by one in Kanpur, and several other programs. Young teams are taking advantage of programs. This happens to be our centenary years for ASSOCHAM. main centennial program early this year was attended by Prime Minister with several other ministers. We really recognize excellent initiatives taken by West Bengal government. This includes an incentive program for green buildings, green city mission, and policies to promote renewable energy, water and waste management, etc. Launch of green city mission in all municipal corporation and also in the jurisdiction of development authorities was also planned by under your able leadership, sir. 10 cities in the state are being developed in planned sustainable manner, which includes Rajarhat, Durgapur, Bolpur, Kalyani, Baryapur, Gangasagar, and others. The state government has first decided to develop Rajarhat as smart green city. Since then, the state urban development department under your leadership has been planning the project with inputs from Municipal Corporation, IIT Kharagpur, and CREDAI. This has been a wonderful initiative and a landmark movement for the country. The government of West Bengal gives special benefits for green projects like additional FAR, sanctions, fast-track environmental clearance, and financial assistance at concessional rate, which is unique for the country. Friends, we have gone through a very bad phase in last month, and I think we need to learn from our legend leader, and her statement goes to our heart: save green, save life. After the cyclone, incalculable ecological damage has occurred in Calcutta and South Bengal. Tens of thousands of trees have been uprooted. We must all work together to restore the greenery in the state. And sir, our session is devoted to this mission created by our great leader from West Bengal. So once again, Firhad Hakimji, thank you so much for blessing us with your presence today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dharkar Saab, for this very encouraging and very energetic presentation. I would request, I would like to add here that under the the government, West Bengal government gives 10% extra FAR to the buildings that are certified green, sir. So this JAM certification program is the similar program, and we would request you to please consider this program also for the 10% extra FAR under the bylaws, so that the projects going for GEM certification also get the same benefit. Now, I would request Architect Tushar Suganiji for his special address, sir. Tushar Suganiji is the chairman of ASSOCHAM GEM Rajasthan chapter and is the managing director of Tushar Suganiji Designs Private Limited. This is based out of Jaipur. He is a very dynamic person and has taken the responsibility to spread the GEM program in the entire country. Now I would request Tushar Suganiji to please share his vision with us, sir. Sir.
Thank you, Neeraj. Thanks a lot. First of all, a very warm welcome to Honorable Minister Firhad Hakim. Sir, I, being sitting in Rajasthan, have been hearing a lot about you from all my friends in Kolkata, you know, and the way you are heading under your mentorship for this green program is really appreciable. And when Devotos just informed that you are going to be as a chief guest in our function, it was a very delighted moment for us. And my president, Mr. Dharkar, was overwhelmed with this gesture of yours. Sir, just to give you a brief background about JAM operations, we have a modest opening of around this is going to the 5th state in India. Other 4 states are Rajasthan, Punjab, Gujarat, and UP. And now we have got another new opening on this historic day when you are being there as a mentor, as a chief guest, and Devoto Sahu, who is going to take West Bengal and to the GEM to a new dimensions, to new elevations. We are very much delighted. And sir, just to bring in your notice that we will be having a very soon inauguration of Chhattisgarh chapter on 21st of July, Maharashtra chapter on 15th of July, and Karnataka chapter on 29th of July. And other than this, the new chapters which we are coming up with is Orissa, Northeast, Tamil Nadu, and Madhya Pradesh. So this is our vision, and my president, Mr. Dharkar, has given me a task to open at least 20 chapters in coming 2-3 months. And frankly speaking, this lockdown has been a blessing in disguise for us, wherein we have gone for a lot of webinars, a lot of seminars, and we have spread our wings across the country. And just to share a very important news with you, that Nepal has kind of agreed in principle, wherein we'll be opening up, we are having a dialogues with Nepalese government, and we'll be opening a chapter in Nepal very soon, sir, with your blessings, sir. And as Mr. Dharkar said, today is really a historic day for us. Mr. Dharkar signed 2 MOUs in the morning with 2 universities in Uttar Pradesh. And today, under your mentorship, I think we'll have always your blessings will be showering on us when we open and launch the new chapter, which is adding further to our cap, West-Bengal chapter. I think it's a very historical day for us. And today we are having our entire dynamic team under the leadership of Architect Debato Sahu, who is going to be chairman of JAM ASSOCHAM West Bengal. So I declare this chapter open, though Dharkar Saab will take a formal call on that, but we are very proud, delighted that now West Bengal chapter is in operation under the dynamic leadership of Architect Debato Sahu. Architect Abin Chaudhary will be co-chairing this JAM chapter West Bengal. Professor Sonia Gupta will be the honorary secretary. Mr. Neeraj will be the treasurer. Architect Anirudh Bhaduri will be the program chair. Amit Kumar Sharma will be the program marketing. Dr. Himadri Guha will be one of the advisors from the education. And we have got 5 dynamic gems, that is our executive members, Mr. Manoj Chakravarti, Mr. Tarak Chakravarti, Mr. Vishal Kapoor, Mr. Partha Pratim Datta, and last but not the least, Mr. Basudev Das. So I think we need a great round of applause for our dynamic team who is going to install our chapter in West Bengal under the leadership of Debato Sahu. Now, may I request our president, Mr. Pankaj Dharkar, so that we cannot do physically pinning them, but virtually whatever we have been doing in last 3 months. Please, I request Mr. Dharkar to formally declare this chapter open. Over to you, Mr. Dharkar. Thank you.
Thank you, Tusharji, and may I request Architect Debato Sahuji to raise his right hand, please. The general leadership of the JAM West Bengal State Chapter is entrusted to you. You will act as chairman of JAM West Bengal State Chapter and be part of all the committees of this chapter. You will give direction and leadership to all areas of chapter activities. As chapter chairman, it will be your responsibility to ensure that policy directives of society and your chapter are carried out. Above all, you are the one to whom members of this chapter can and will direct their criticism of policies and activities, and you must render them satisfaction all the time. The privilege of this and service carries a great honor, real responsibility, and a hard work. Do you, Architect Debato Sahuji, promise to fulfill the duties and responsibilities of your chapter as specified?
Yes, I do.
We know you will discharge your duty well and wish you much success and happiness in your term of office. I am really pleased on behalf of members of ASSOCHAM JAM Council to install you as the chairman of JAM West Bengal chapter. I shall now present you other office members of this working committee. So may I now invite Mr. Architect Abin Chaudhary as co-chairman. Abinji, please
Yes.
raise your right hand.
Tell me.
You will be at all times be prepared to assume his duties should the chairman be unavoidably unable to attend chapter meeting, board meetings, and such other duties as may be delegated to you. Do you, Architect Abin Chaudhary ji, promise to fulfill the duties and responsibilities of your chapter as specified?
Yes.
Do you agree, sir?
Yes.
It is my pleasure to install you as co-chairman of the JAM West Bengal State Chapter. Congratulations to you, sir. Next, I will install Secretary Professor Sonia Gupta. Madam, you will have to raise your right hand. it will be your responsibility to keep due records of meeting, attend to correspondence, and be aid to the senior officer. Do you, Professor Sonia Gupta, promise to fulfill the duties and responsibilities of your chapter as specified?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. It is my pleasure to install you as the Secretary of JAM West Bengal State Chapter. Congratulations to you, madam.
Thank you.
Next, Neeraj Arora ji, it will be your duty to receive all monies, pay all authorized accounts, and give due accounting financially whenever you are called upon to do so. Do you, Neeraj Arora, promise to fulfill the duties and responsibilities of office as specified?
Yes, sir. Yes.
It is my pleasure to install you as Treasurer of the JAM West Bengal State Chapter. Next, I will like to install Architect Anirban Bhaduri ji. Anirban ji, it will be your duty to receive all monies, pay authorized accounts also, and assist whenever called by our treasurer. And also, it will be your responsibility to conduct all the programs which are coming up in West Bengal. Do you, Anirban ji, promise to fulfill all duties and responsibilities of your office? Anirban ji, do you?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm really, it's pleasure in installing you as program chair. Amit Kumar ji, Sharma ji, now I'm installing you as marketing chair. It will be your responsibility to create all marketing and innovative material for all programs which are going to happen. Do you, Amit ji, promise to fulfill all duties and responsibilities of your as specified?
Sure, sir. Yes.
I'm really happy to install you as marketing chair for JAM West Bengal chapter. Now, most important, Dr. Himadri Guhaji as advisor, Mr. Manoj Chakravarti ji as executive member, Tarak Chakravarti ji as executive member, Basudev Das ji as executive members, Partha Pritam Dua ji as executive members. So I'm going to do this in one stroke to all 5 of you. My apologies, because of this being digital format, I had to take that call. So all of you are ready to raise your right hand, and because you have demonstrated interest and activity in society and chapter affairs, your fellow members have elected you to represent them in the chapter working committee. It will be your individual responsibility to meet as committee. It is an honor and privilege to serve on it, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to this activity of society and to install you as members of the chapter working committee of JAM West Bengal State Chapter. Good luck to all of you. So my fellow members of the JAM West Bengal State Chapter, these are your duly elected officers and committee members. They deserve your continued support and guidance. Once again, my special thanks to Mr. Firhad Hakimji, whose august presence we could perform this. This is indeed a pleasure for all of us. Thank you once again. And I'm now I'm inviting our president.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
This is not only myself, my municipal commissioner, Calcutta Corporation, is also with me.
Oh,
Oh my
Mr.
goodness.
We know.
We are delighted, sir.
Also with us.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. My
Yeah,
apologies,
sir.
sir. I didn't note that. We welcome you, sir. We are really honored today and humbled today. Thank you so much, sir.
We are honored, sir. Thank you, sir.
So
Thank you
now
so much.
I will request our newly elected Debotosh Sahu Saab. I think you are blessed with commissioner's presence, minister's presence.
yeah.
Our star, sir. Thank you. Over to you.
Good evening, everybody. Honorable Sri Firhad Hakim sir, the Minister for Urban Development and Municipal Affairs, Government of West Bengal. Honorable Sri Khalil Ahmed sir, Chief Secretary, UD Department, UD and MA, Government of West Bengal, Sri Taranjit Singh Ji, Ms. Parminder Kaur Ji, and Pankaj Dharkar Ji, my Chairman, National Chairman, ASSOCHAM JAM National Council, and distinguished speakers for this webinar today, and all who are present here in this August gathering, ladies and gentlemen. I am feeling very honored to be installed today as the chairman of the ASSOCHAM JAM West Bengal chapter in front of Honorable Minister and this August gathering. Before I share my thoughts, I want to thank the National Council of ASSOCHAM JAM and my National Chairman Dharkarji, and especially Architect Tushar, for considering me worthy for the post of this to lead Bengal from the front in the green and sustainable movement. In the post-Paris Agreement era, accelerating climate action is the biggest hope to ensure a safe future for all of us. In India, ASSOCHAM, being the oldest apex chamber, it has taken the initiative to complement India's sustainability movement through its JAM sustainability certification program for the last 2 years. Friends, in Bengal, we have experienced the deadly impact of super cyclone Amphan a month back in the midst of the pandemic COVID-19. The climate scientists say the root cause is climate change. With the rapidly warming Indian Ocean, the severe cyclones are projected to increase in both numbers and intensities. The construction industries, I repeat, the construction industry is a big contributor to this climate change, and hence our responsibility becomes manifold. We have to promote green buildings, green constructions, and so the certification programs become very, very important. We are very fortunate that our government, our West Bengal government, is very sensitive about this, and it offers 10% extra FSI for the green buildings. It will not be out of context to mention that our state government has backed prestigious C40 award in Copenhagen for its transport planning and action for completely switching to electric mode in public transport in Kolkata by 2030, which will reduce the carbon footprint drastically in our country. To promote the green movement, I have some specific plans which I will mention now. Likewise, we'll start with the awareness program. We'll start with the students, and that will be done through various universities. For the builders and the developers, it will be through CREDAI Bengal. The technocrats, consultants, it will be through various institutions. And for the industries, it will be through the Chamber of Commerce. Last but not the least, there will be several programs which are designed for the general people, the people at large. In Bengal, about 1.5 crore square feet of construction that takes place every year. And you will be astonished to know that only 20 to 25% of these are rated as the green building. So there is a huge gap, and we have to bridge that gap. We are planning to organize the skill development programs for various segments to promote green, sustainable, and energy efficient practices. Third, we will try to adopt few buildings by providing free green building solutions to make it a performing green buildings, and which will be able to measure the efficiency of the energy, and which will be showcased for the students and the industry to experience the same. Before I conclude, I don't want to miss this opportunity to place some suggestions to our Honorable Minister, sir, and the Secretary, sir, who is present here with us, for your considerations. A humble request for making all the new government buildings as certified green buildings. We have recently got to know that NKDA, New Kolkata Development Authority, has initiated to convert all the roofs of the new structures to convert it to green roof. And they are trying to offer some incentives for the property tax for coming 3 years after the completion of the projects. My humble suggestion will be to consider the same kind of proposition for our city of Joy and the other cities of Bengal. Last but not the least, a humble submission in front of you to include the GEM Green Building Rating System in the approved list of the rating systems in Bengal. Friends, we have started in a very small way, and it's a very small initiative we are taking to combat the climate change, and hope with all your active support and participation, West Bengal will be the front runner in a very short period of time, and our movement for the green and sustainability will be successful. Thank you. Thank you so much for your patient hearing. Jai Hind. Over to Neeraj.
Thank you so much, Devatosh ji. Yeah, thank you so much, Devatosh ji, for this wonderful speech. You have covered all the aspects of green, what have been done by Urban Ministry in West Bengal. Now, I would request Honorable Minister Shri Firhad Hakim ji for his blessings to us, for his kind words to us. Sir, please, over to you, sir.
Actually, thank you so much. Thank you, Pankaj Saab, and congratulations, Devatosh Sahuji, and your team members for forming this GEM in Calcutta, in Bengal. Actually, when we shot that we need more and more green buildings, I think you can hear me.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
When we
Very
thought that
clear.
have more and more green buildings in Calcutta, and we have passed a bill in our assembly that 10% of the FIR will be given, more FIR will be given for the green building initiatives. That time we were in a dilemma that who will certify that, because we have some institutions, we have some private players who are willing to certify. But for a government, a concrete proposition and a association with such a remittance can only certify the green building. And I thank ASSOCHAM for doing this great work, forming the GEM for the certification of this green building. Actually, to my heart, more and more greeneries. If we create more and more green building greeneries, the world will stay more. And that is why we are all talking about the green today. What is the actually green building all about? To save energy, to save water, and to have a smart building so that it may be called as a green building. You have a great task, Mr. South, because you have to go to door to all the promoters or all the builders in Calcutta to convince them to come up with the proposal of green building. Because most of the area, the promoters or the builders do not have the concept of the green building. They don't want to understand the necessity of the green building. They only have the commercial aspect that today we have to invest more. What will be the return for this? But it is for the future, and they are enjoying the 10% extra FIR for the green building. It will be your task to go through that and to have more, bring more and more proposals for us. Secondly, we are really interested because, as all of you were talking about Amphan, that in this city only 15,000 trees has been fallen. So it is a great challenge for us to create more and more greenery, to create and to protect our environment, and to seriously look upon this when the pandemic is on. And the pandemic in Kolkata is also going ahead, like rest of the metros in our country. So we are really in a tough situation, but we believe in our leader Mamata Banerjee, the Chief Minister. He says that if there is a will, there is a way, and with that we are proceeding high. So I am not going to deliver my lecture here. My few suggestions are there that when you plan a green building, in the specific areas, not only New Town, not only NKDA, which is a planned area. Yes, there is a scope of green buildings there. There is scope of greeneries there. But we have to create this scope where we don't have space, we don't have greeneries, where we don't have the traditional Calcutta with full of occupations and and we don't have any recreational scape. There comes a job of an architect to create space in that area. Suppose in Barabaya, as we all know, we have already that amalgamation process we have in act, the green building we have in act, but the additional FIR for the tenants we have in act, but no one is coming forward. That is why the GM of the association has a great task in front of them. Go to them, convince them, and to create more and more green buildings so that we can have a pleasant stay in Calcutta. Well, we can have a future in Calcutta. So I would with a great hope I am here, because not as a minister, but as a citizen of Calcutta, we think that you can do whatever I dreamed. You can do that, and with that expectation, I again say you that please come forward and do the greenery, the green building, the concept, and to implement the concept of green building in Calcutta, so that we can have a bright future. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. We are really blessed, sir.
My Vinod Kumar IAS, our municipal commissioner, he has just joined as a municipal commissioner last week. Khalil Ahmed was here as a municipal commissioner. He went to my department as a principal secretary, urban development and municipal affairs. And Vinod Kumarji is here as a commissioner of Calcutta Municipal Corporation.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Can
Thank
you,
you so
can
much,
you request sir to say a few words? The commissioner.
Yes, please, sir. Please, please.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister and Chairperson Kolkata Municipal Corporation. He has been here right since beginning. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right since beginning, and before this also we were discussing. Now, the state government and Kolkata Municipal Corporation is very enthused. We are talking in terms of sustainable development. We want our buildings to be green. We want to leave to our next generation at least what we have. Not leave it any worse off. That is the target that the state government and Kolkata Corporation has for the city. And we are really excited to see that ASSOCHAM has come up with their GEM project, where the certification is possible, as Honorable Minister was saying, that in our Act we have a provision of incentivizing this by providing a 10% additional FAR. But until unless we had a standard method of certifying, it was getting slightly difficult for the Kolkata Corporation as well as for the architect or for the promoter or the building owner, to get these things. Now certification, this gap which has been launched today, I'm sure will fill up that critical gap where these things can be made smooth. And I've just recently joined, as Honorable Minister was mentioning. I look forward to interacting more closely with the local chapter here and also the association as a whole. I've had very intimate interaction with the association in my earlier state when I was Commissioner of Commercial Taxes. Then for the revenue part and for doing ease of business, we had some very wonderful interactions, and I'm excited to carry it forward from there, though in a different role. Thank you so much for having this webinar and for giving us the opportunity to listen to you and also share our thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And we assure you, sir, on behalf of ASSOCHAM, sir, ASSOCHAM represents more than 4 lakh industry members across India, sir. We have connects in all the states through our regional chapters. And so we have so deep industry connects across India. And we assure you that as we have started this green building certification program, this program has been designed very simple and very straightforward, so that this gap can be filled you are talking about, so that we can train our engineers, our architects, our students on the green building certification program, and we can fulfill this gap. And sir, as you told us that we want that this 10% extra FAR should not be the greed for the developers, but we should make them understand that why sustainability, why green building is so important, that if that is important, 10% extra FAR is nothing. So we should focus on that thing, and 10% extra FAR is just the benefit which the government is offering to the developers as an incentive.
Yeah.
So we will come to you, we will reach to you with a very good proposal that how we can train our developers, how can we train our architects, engineers, students on sustainability, and how we can fill up this gap. That this 10% extra FAR should not be just become a greed, but should be considered as incentive of doing good work and green work, sir. Sir, we are really honored to have you, the Honorable Minister and the Honorable Commissioner. So yeah, thank you so much, sir. Now I would like yes.
Neeraj, can I request Mr. Khalil Ahmed sir to say a few words?
I think he's not there now.
He is not there.
Okay.
Khalil Ahmed, Principal Secretary, unfortunately is not here.
Okay, sir. No problem. Thank you so much, sir. Neeraj, please go ahead.
Yes. So Anup, please present the e-memento for the Honorable Minister. Anup, please present. Yeah. Sir,
Sir, we are really honored
thank you
to
so
have
much,
you.
sir.
Sir,
We are really honored to have you here, sir. And
Yes, sir.
please speak, Devadoshi, please speak.
We are really honored to have you, sir, in this August gathering, and today on the day of the launching of the West Bengal chapter of JAM ASSOCHAM. And the points you have raised, obviously we'll stick to that when we will come to you for your support and the proposal, and we will do our best. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for coming and joining here, sir.
Now I would request Abhin Chaudhary ji to deliver vote of thanks to Honorable Minister. Sir, please just wait for 2 minutes, sir. Mr. Abhin?
Yeah. I'm audible?
Yes.
Yes.
On behalf of ASSOCHAM JAM West Bengal chapter, I'd like to thank you for your presence as a chief guest in today's event, sir. Thank you so much for taking out the valuable time and attending this program. Needless to mention, the tremendous effort you are putting in for the city in this difficult time is absolutely commendable. We look forward towards your continued contribution towards the city now and the future. Offer the people for the city a sense of pride and well-being. We'd like to be associated with you, and your mentorship will help ASSOCHAM to make our city and our country more sustainable and conducive place to live in. Thank you so much, sir, for being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being with us, sir. Thank you.
In the same context, I would like to invite Professor Sonia Gupta to take over the next panel discussions. Over to you, Sonia ji.
Yeah, so Professor Sonia Gupta is the Honorary Secretary of ASSOCHAM GEM West-Bengal chapter. And first of all, we congratulate you and we welcome you to this GEM family. She is the Principal, Amity School of Architecture and Planning, Amity University, Kolkata. Ma'am, over to you.
Thank you so much. Indeed, it is an honor that the Minister and the Commissioner of KMC could spare some of their valuable time for this forum and share their thoughts about green buildings and greening buildings and locations. So we really look forward to realization of their ideas. And this evening, we are really honored to have with us on this occasion of installation of GEM ASSOCHAM West Bengal chapter, 4 distinguished speakers who will share with us their knowledge in Preparedness for the Future, a Post-Amphan initiative. Before I introduce and invite the esteemed speakers to make their presentations, allow me a while to speak a little about the genesis of the topic of this evening's deliberations. Well, while the elusive but galloping strain of COVID-19 has managed to ravage every single location of human habitation, it was mostly our state of West Bengal that took the double whammy of the Amphan cyclone. The morning after 20th May revealed a shattering devastation that raised some very heart-wrenching questions. Perhaps after this havoc, our city's green crown can be nurtured back to health and held in place with pride. Can we rebuild to protect our built environment and precious lives within from the severest of onslaughts? Should we not look beyond the city we love so much towards transforming the delicate vulnerability of coastal areas into a strengthened existence? Is it too late to take a long, hard look at the daily actuality of the unique Sundarbans, now punctured and tortured by subsequent disasters? It is with this quest for answers, sparked by an idea by our program chair, that this team of GEM ASSOCHAM West Bengal chapter set out to request today's 4 stalwarts for an evening of discussions and projected actions only possible with their immense knowledge and experience. At the outset of this webinar, very proud to welcome Mr. K.C. Singhal. After doing post-graduation in landscape architecture in 1978 from School of Planning and Architecture, New Delhi, Mr. Singhal got the opportunity to work with the doyen of landscape practice and recipient of the prestigious International Aga Khan Award, Messrs. Ravindra Bhan and Associates. In 1981, he started working with Rasim Shah, Saudi consultant in Riyadh, where he worked on projects awarded by the Royal Commission for Jubail and Yanbu, Jubail Industrial City, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. On his return to India, he was again associated with Professor Bhan when, amongst other projects, he worked on Shakti Sthal, the prestigious memorial for the late Srimati Indira Gandhi. From 87 to 1990, he worked with Town and Country Planning Organization, Government of India, and was intensively involved in assisting teams working on a variety of planning projects of immense value. In 1990, he established Single Associates and has since worked on prestigious projects such as Tata's Sports Complex and Housing Jamshedpur, and our very own city center Salt Lake and Tata Medical Center both in Kolkata, the Fort Radisson inspired Raichok also very close to Kolkata, and the Chhatrasal Stadium, Delhi. Mr. Singhal, we look earnestly forward to the next 15 minutes, which completely belongs to your presentation on tree planting techniques and preventive measures. Before you begin, I would like to iterate that for all participants, the questions will be taken by respected speakers after all 4 sessions are completed. Mr. Singhal, if you could take on the screen, please.
Neeraj, could you please share the screen?
Yes. Anu, please do that. I would request Mr. Tuhin to accept the camera request, please. Architect Tuhin, please accept the camera request. Yeah, thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me in this webinar. As we all know, due to Cyclone Amphan, thousands of the trees got uprooted and it caused a great ecological damage in Kolkata. In order to restore greenery, a large number of trees need to be planted to protect against natural disasters and to conserve the environment. In this context, I feel it is not replantation of new trees, but we should put some serious thoughts on what kind of plants we select for the different locations based on the planting conditions which prevail in each location. For example, palm trees which have a good visual quality may be used in all the saline locations as they are very tolerant of saline conditions, which most of the plants will not be able to tolerate. Also, as a post-Amphan initiative, we need to follow the best tree planting techniques for the plantation in future. While planting trees, all the scientific procedures should be adopted so that the tree gets established in the shortest possible time to its permanent place in landscape. It is necessary to provide with sufficient care and attention at the time of planting so that they can grow well and can successfully thrive with little care afterwards. Simultaneously, we should also focus on the preventive measures, as these are equally important for the healthy growth and survival of all the young and mature trees already existing in Kolkata. In Kolkata, it is very important to study the quality of soil and underground water before deciding the tree planting technique and selection of the trees. At places, underground water is highly saline in nature and water table is also very high. Most plants will not tolerate conditions where the saline water table invades the root zone. So the chemical analysis of the soil and underground water in relation to the tolerance of the plants selected should be carefully considered. Now, through this slide, I am trying to show that the restored greenery should look like this, where you see the ornamental palms and flowering trees on undulating lush green lawns where colorful foliage and flowering plants. The greenery has been achieved not only at the ground level, but at various levels of the building tower. Now I'll be explaining about the tree planting techniques. In the tree planting techniques, I'll be covering planting plan, then I'll be covering tree planting detail on ground level and the tree planting detail on RCC slab and tree planting detail on mounds. Now, just to give an idea briefly that this is a tree planting plan. This is a part plan of a big project, maybe in the Calcutta only, where we have shown how big trees are shown, the grouping of the trees, structuring of the trees, and wherever we have shown the tree, this is prepared by a landscape architect and it is shared with the contractor who will implement it at site. For example, this is a terminally Arjuna. We show what spacing and how many numbers. So likewise, all the trees are designated. And we give some tree planting specifications that what is the age of the trees and group of the trees planted in line or cluster shall be of uniform size and appearance. Likewise, there are other instructions. All plant material shall be inspected at site by landscape architect or project manager. So some of these instructions which we mentioned, but these are part of the detailed specification. And now I'll take you to the next slide. So the first technique, how we do the plantation at the ground level, I have shown two images. On the left hand side, I have shown just young sapling, how single support is there and it is planted on the ground. And in the second slide, I have shown little bigger trees, but how the support is given, since it was a boutique hotel. So we have shown how this is wrapped with the jute rope, so that, and it gets full support from this support. Now, in this slide, I will discuss a little technical things for the planting of the trees on the ground level. First, what we have shown in the plan, the location. Based on the location, the size of the pit will be excavated. Normally, the pit size will be 19 centimeter diameter and 90 centimeter deep. Then after we excavate the pit, the first step is that the bottom and sides of the pits need to be treated with anti-termite treatment. After that, we have to mix with the planting or the good soil, mixed with the 250 grams of neem cake, 100 grams of bone meal, and 10 grams of linden. This is only for the tree pit. If the size of the pit is still bigger, then this proportion can be changed. Now in this pit, once this pit is prepared with the planting mix and all that, then we have the young sapling, and this sapling will, we have to ensure that the branching system is intact, and we should prune 1/3 of the branches. While pruning the branching system, we have to ensure that the leader goes straight. We don't cut the leader. And then the middle part, this is the trunk. This should be covered with the jute. Otherwise, this will get dried. And in the bottom part, in the ground, this is called tree ball. Tree ball should be covered with the burlap, but 1/3 should be removed. After doing the plantation, then we have to put the vertical stake just for the support. And then we have to create a saucer all around with the earthenry so that it can retain the water. So this is how we do the planting on the natural ground, on the virgin soil. In my next slide, I'll show you planting when it is done on the RCC slab. This is a live example in Calcutta only, where we have done the planting. Now here I'm discussing only about the trees, although I should have spoken about the shrubs, ground covers, and the lower story plants also. But due to time constraint, I'm just covering only the planting of the trees. This whole plantation is done on RCC slab. Now in this slide, I'm going to discuss how the planting technique was adopted. Now we can have either planting directly on the entire slab, but to save the cost, we create the local area where we do the plantation by creating the planters. Now on right hand side, we see the photo which is exactly the palms have been executed. How we see this is the palm, and then the support given at the bottom, we have got the planter. Now in this technical detail, I'll explain you. This is the RCC slab. Although the details are same as it is on the ground level, but the lower levels are little different. Lower layers are different. Suppose this is the structure slab. So first we have to do the waterproofing treatment on the structure slab, and this waterproofing treatment, then we have to protect it with the protection concrete. Normally it varies in slope from 25 mm to maximum 75 mm, and the slope is done towards the drainage point, and through the drain point, then the water is drained off. Achha, then again, in the same way, we hold the plant. Sorry, before that, we have to do the subsurface drainage layer, which is HDP drain covered with the geotextile membrane. HDP stands for high density polyethylene. This is a material which helps in the subsurface drainage. And then after this subsurface drainage, we put the 50 mm thick layer of the coarse sand. Ultimately, all these layers will help in the subsurface drainage. Then we hold the tree straight. This is the root ball, and then we support it, and then we fill with the soil. And normally the water level from the top of the planter is kept 50 or 75 mm lower than the top of the planter wall. So this is how we do the plantation on the RCC slab. Now the third technique is when there is a saline water table and the water table is very high. In that case, what we do? We create a mound. This is again a live project in Kolkata, where we create a mound, and we have done to raise the soil level. And at the lower level, we have given the plants which are shallow rooted, and at the top of the mound, we have given the plants which are deep rooted or which requires more soil depth. The technicality of the slide which I have already shown is like this. Suppose this is the water table. Now the water table, because of the capillary action, it rises up during the high tide level, and then again further we have to consider for the maximum level of this when it goes up by capillary action. So between the root wall and the highest water table, there we have to create a capillary break so that it doesn't invade the root zone, because the roots will get burned if there is a high salinity in the water. For that, we have to use the graded gravel layer as a under drainage system. Rest of the technique is same. Only thing, the planting is done on the raised ground wherever the water table is very high, because in Calcutta at some places the water table is very high. So these were some of the planting techniques. Now I'll switch on to my next part. This is the preventive measures. Now mainly we have got maintaining the natural ground level at the base of the existing tree, prevent unplanned site development around the existing trees for installation of the utility line and trenching, prevent concretization at the base of the existing trees. So this is the first point which I think is very important, maintaining the natural ground level at the base of the existing tree. Normally what happens, suppose this is the crown of the tree, within the same dia, the roots will spread. This is a root zone. If you see these roots, they are spreading horizontally, and this is covered. This is called drip line. So this is within the diameter of the tree crown. This, we should not touch the root level. Whatever the nursery ground level is there, that level we should keep at the base of the tree. So in this case, through this first image I am showing that when we are lowering the ground level, we can lower it, but not near the base of the tree, away from the base of the tree. And in the second sketch, when we are raising the water, new grade, when we are raising the ground level, then we should raise it like this, but not touch the base of the tree. Now, when we are raising the level, we have to ensure that the water doesn't remain stagnant in the root zone, and it should be drained off properly. Another thing is that we should not store any material at the base of the tree, because that will not help in percolation of the water. So this is something very important. So this is second preventive measure. In the same way, normally we create the trenches, but that trench should not be within the root zone. We create the trench and we cut the roots, and in the trench we lay the pipes, sometimes for the electrical, sewage, stormwater. So we should avoid all these things. Once we do these things, then this will weaken the root system and ultimately the plant will die. Next preventive measure is the concretization at the base of the trees. This should be avoided, because this area should be kept soft at the bottom of the tree. This has to be permeable, because this will help in aeration, in water, and in nutrients. So in any case, this should be avoided. We should not do any, like for example, you see the hard paved area around the tree. If I bring it close to this tree trunk, tree will feel suffocated, and due course of time it will die. So idea is to leave it permeable, and at the same time we can have some sort of understory plantation, like you see in this slide. Again, this project is from Calcutta only, where we cover the bare soil with the ground covers and shrubbery. So this is just to protect that the trees will not die if we do the concretization at the base of it. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Ma'am Sonia.
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you, Singhji, for telling us so simply how to plant, take care, and then keep our greenery healthy, happy, and most importantly, safe. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
Thank you so much. And now it is our honor to welcome Mr. Girish David, presently Director of Sterling Engineering Consultancy Services Private Limited. Mr. Girish David had completed his civil engineering graduation and structural engineering post-graduation at IIT Mumbai. In his long and illustrious career of 37 years, his structural designs of tall residential buildings, commercial complexes, hotels, malls, convention centers, and many more bear a mark of innovation and are based on the principles of constructability and structural aesthetics. Some of its prominent projects are the 320-meter high Palais Royal in Mumbai, the 8 million square feet Dhirubhai Ambani International Convention Center also in Mumbai, office building for ICICI Bank in Hyderabad, consuming more than 35,000 metric tons of structural steel, the Kingfisher Tower, an iconic project in Bangalore, and many buildings with heights more than 200 meters. He promotes techniques of sustainable structural designs and is the India representative of Council on Tall Buildings and Urban Habitat, which is a worldwide organization that connects all professionals working in this field across 56 countries. Mr. Dravid, your presentation on wind and building safety is highly awaited by all present in this online platform. Over to you.
Thank you, Professor Gupta. So I'm assigned to talk about wind and building safety, and it has been prompted by the recent Amphan occurrence. I would have rather liked the minister and commissioner to be present while I was talking, because what I'm going to tell right now is just one single point in next 10 minutes. And I'm going to describe how important it is to ensure safety of buildings and trees as well, because we are talking of tree uprooting and all that, from a structural point of view. I know this seminar is arranged by GEM, and you prominently focus on the green building concept, but I believe that a sustainable structural design contributes to the green building concept as well, because it's the life cycle of a structure or even a tree that we are talking about. So now, just to start the to get into the mood, I'm just displaying what is the wind that we are talking about. And if you see this entire what you call atmosphere, the layers of atmosphere, you see we are concerned with the lowest 1 kilometer in this huge height of the atmosphere. But that is where our buildings and trees and our atmosphere that concerns us lies. And it's very important to know how that affects us. So wind is actually the motion of air related to surface of the earth that everybody knows. I mean, even in the school it is taught to us, which is caused by rotation of the earth and differences in the temperatures at various locations on the earth. And wind, of course, blows horizontal to the ground, and that is why it is called as a lateral load on the structures. And as I said, we are concerned mostly with the wind speeds, which are of the order of the height of the buildings that we live in. So how is wind formed? I mean, if there is a cooler area on the earth, there is a warmer area on the earth, the warm air goes up and the cool air tries to occupy the displaced place, and that is how winds are generated. Same thing with on the coastal regions as well. When the wind speed becomes more than 80 kilometers, for a definition purpose, 80 kilometers per hour, they are called as cyclonic storms or thunderstorms. In Indian areas, a cyclonic storm hits generally the storms are originated in seas, oceans, and they advance towards, if they advance towards land, they generally start weakening. And in Indian areas, because of our topography, they generally die down, after about 50 to 60 kilometers. So that coastal zone of about 50 to 60 kilometers is important for us. And this is how it actually happens in the ocean. The warm air starts going up and creating a low pressure zone at the bottom, so that the air from the other area starts coming towards that one single point of low pressure. And because all the air cannot come and stay stationary at that point, it starts swirling, and that is how the cyclone is formed. So this will explain it better. So this is just a preliminary thing. Just I wanted to give you what cyclones are. But at the same time, we have sort of a timetable throughout the world when the tropical cyclones are hitting our land masses. So you can see in Indian Ocean, April to December is generally the time period. Why I'm telling you all this is, it's very important to know when we are talking of preparedness before a cyclone. We should know, and it's very easy nowadays. Early warning systems for cyclones are quite well established. There's no problem there. So we know about the cyclone much in advance, 3-4 days in advance. We know the cyclone is going to hit us. So this science is well developed. There is absolutely no problem about that. So you can see how ferocious this cyclone Amphan was. This picture is from courtesy IMD, and you can imagine the area occupied by that cyclone is as much as half our country. Such a big cyclone had hit our country that time. So now, what happens when a wind strikes some objects? You can see in the first video, there is a triangular. This is a plan I'm showing. All these are plans. This is a simulation of a wind. When there is a building of a triangular shape, you can see at the tip, there is a very high pressure zone, and then the wind gets deflected. And at the bottom, you see there is a low pressure zone. Now this low pressure zone, you can easily see there the low pressure zone is going from one corner to the other corner. It's periodically changing its position. And not only there is a pressure along the direction of the wind, but this low pressure, because it is moving from one end to the other, the building starts moving laterally as well. So it's very unpredictable behavior beyond our common sense. You can also see if there is a group of buildings, then how the wind is flowing. And in this third video, I'm showing you if there is a lane, let's say there is a curved road on which there are a lot of building blocks. You can see the wind does not affect uniformly on all the buildings. On some areas where you can see this bright spot, there is high pressure, and in some areas there is low pressure. So you will be surprised to know that the wind affects buildings in a very different way, which are located at very closely spaced, in a close quarter. Also, it can affect very differently. You can see wind going through the trees and hitting this building, and you see the entire wind is concentrated on this single building. And you can imagine if these trees were not there, there would have been uniform pressure all along. But because of the presence of these objects, this building is experiencing tremendous pressure. Now, such phenomena, the effect of wind on buildings depends largely how the building is situated with respect to the other objects in the vicinity. So not only that, here I have made a statement that liability of the building to high wind pressures depends not only upon geographical location and proximity to other obstructions to airflow, but also upon the characteristics of the structure itself. So if a building is flexible enough, the wind force on that building is more. If it is rigid, it is less. So this is a structural concept, but that is why you will find that on a larger buildings, the larger trees can survive, the smaller trees can get uprooted, and all that. And so there is a combined action of external and internal pressures also. If you keep your doors and windows open, there is a different phenomena. The roofs can blow out. If you keep your building closed, probably the damage will be less. So there is internal pressure, external pressure, then the characteristics of the structure itself. So all this jargon I'm telling you to just make one single point, but let's go through this rhetoric. Factors influencing, the forces on building due to wind is shape of the building. If it is a aerodynamic shape like a circle or like an aerofoil, the force will be less. If it is a flat building, the force will be more. Then there will be dynamic effects because of various other factors, as I showed you in previous videos. If the building is slender, there will be a different kind of force. Stiffness of the building will attract lesser force. All this a structural engineer can evaluate. Then what are these forces, factors influencing the forces? So there is vortex shedding, which means when a laminar wind is coming and hitting a building, it gets disturbed. And because of the turbulence, there could be different kind of forces. It can pull out certain windows, window panes or roof. The structures behind can get differently affected and all that. Then there is galloping, which means when the wind is traveling in one direction, actually the structure or the building or electric poles or trees, they will start moving in other direction. So this is very important. You may realize this in an aeroplane. When aeroplane is traveling on a runway, the wind is actually traveling in the horizontal direction, in the opposite direction. But what is the effect? The effect is uplift. The aeroplane gets lifted up because of the horizontal wind. Now, when this is very controlled, the aeroplane is designed to get an uplift because of the horizontal wind. But suppose this is not designed, and if the object continuously gets some horizontal force and it is not well designed, it will go up and down, up and down, up and down, and that's called as galloping, like a horse. Similarly, flutter, your horizontal movement due to the cables or rods, they keep fluttering in the wind. Ovaling is another effect where if there is a let's say chimney and the wind is striking it, the chimney diameter will keep on changing. So all these effects are they can be assessed very accurately by a structural engineer if he knows the characteristic of the building and how it is located, where it is located. So also there are gusts, which means in a cyclonic condition, the wind velocity keeps changing, and these gusts over a short period, of course. So these gusts over a short period, they are very dangerous to the very lightweight fins or elevation elements. So you have to be very clear about this. Then there is a funnel effect. In the cities with very tall buildings, you can see very narrow lanes and wind will pass through it. And in this video, you can see on this last building, all this density of wind is striking very hard on that building. So this funnel effect can be very dangerous to certain buildings. So apart from this was about wind, how it affects our buildings. Then what do we do? Structural engineers, how do they design the buildings? There is a very very good guideline in our Indian codes, how to design buildings against winds. And this guidelines are so perfect and very elaborate that if you follow these, there are there is every information to design a building from this code. Now, our country is divided into these six wind zones, and these wind velocities. You can see the color coding as well. So I have, for ease of reading, I have written it separately. But the wind speeds, those are recommended for designing of a building. They vary from 33 meters per second to 55 meters per second. And these values are quite large. I mean, at these velocities, I can tell you that no cyclone has hit India with these speeds so far. You can see in the same code, there is this annex array with specific cities with their corresponding basic wind speeds. And you can verify from the history what was the wind speed that had occurred during last cyclones, I mean, recorded cyclones. And these values are much, much above those. So if you follow these values to design your building, you should be safe. There should be no problem. The wind measurements are done at every meteorological center, at every airport. You must have seen all these instruments, and they are very accurate nowadays. And wind speeds at every moment are being recorded and throughout the world. And the pattern, the direction, the speed, everything that tells us we can have early warnings, or we know the predictability. We can predict the action of the winds on the buildings. So all this is a very well developed science. The wind speed itself, the design wind speed. When we talked earlier, that was the basic wind speed given in the various regions of the country. But for designing a building, they have given further 4 factors by which this wind speed has to be enhanced. And these 4 factors, they are depending on the risk level. That means what kind of building we are designing, then terrain roughness and height of the structure, local topography, and importance factor for the cyclonic regions. Now remember, the east coast of India as well as Gujarat coast, they are defined, they have been defined as cyclonic regions. So all these factors, they are enhancing the basic wind speed, and so the buildings have to be designed for this enhanced wind speeds. So there is a very safe procedure we are talking of here. And you can see in the most of the cases, the factor is K2 factor is more than 1. And then there is that cyclonic region, the factors are 1, 1.15, 1.3 as well. I was talking about this coastal region. It's in order to ensure better safety of structures in this region, which means 60 kilometers wide on the east coast as well as on the Gujarat coast. These factors are recommended, and almost 30% of the wind speed is asked to be enhanced for important structures. So there is so much safety involved in the building designs if you follow this code. The basic speed itself is higher than the most recorded cyclones that have occurred so far. Then there are so many factors. The pressures, this is a standard technical formula, but remember, the pressure on the buildings is of the order of square of the velocity. So you can imagine it's the effect is quite drastic. Then there is the code is so elaborate. For every shape of the building, they have given so many coefficients. And every type of the building, the studies are elaborately done, and every information is available, wind normal to force and wind perpendicular, on all that. That was code. But now we also have facilities in our country and of course abroad as well to determine the effect of wind in a wind tunnel. We have actually, I mean, in my introduction, you came to know that I've designed so many tall buildings. and slender buildings. So it is the general practice that we refer our building to a wind tunnel, and the building is tested in a wind tunnel for the simulated conditions. I mean, if I have to test the building for 50 kilometer per second speed, that same speed can be very easily simulated in a wind tunnel, and the physical model of the building along with the surrounding buildings. I mean, you can define how much area you want to cover in the test, and you can actually make a physical model of the building, put sensors on the building, throw the wind at the specified speed. You can also create the topography behind, and all that can be done. You can really simulate what you want to and test the building physically. And we have been using such results coming out of physical tests to design our buildings over last so many years, and they give very realistic results. And then nowadays we have very advanced structural analysis and design tools. And any small force applied on a building, how the building behaves, how will it twist, how will it deflect, accelerate, deflections, everything is available. And because of this sophistication of analysis tools, we can have multiple runs of analysis, change the forces in all directions coming out of wind tunnel, the codal values, and we can really see what will happen to a building during design. So after knowing all this, this is the point I want to make. Structural designers in India are well equipped with theoretical and practical knowledge. We are well trained. Then we are well guided by Indian standards and enjoy the availability of experimental and analytical resources to design safe and stable buildings and structures against wind. So there's no problem there. Moreover, I'm again coming back to the wind speeds. As per the code, the country has been divided into these 6 zones. The wind speed starting from 33 meters per second to 55 meters per second, and in kilometers per hour, see the correlation. 55 meters per second is 198 kilometers per hour. So also Kolkata, Chennai, and Visakhapatnam, 50 meters per second has been prescribed by the code, which translates into 180 kilometers per hour. Now, Amphan was 120 kilometers per hour. So we had not reached the prescribed velocity. And remember, I told you, this is the basic wind speed. And we had to enhance it by applying those 4 factors. And all buildings in Kolkata that I have designed for that design speed. So I'm sure that Amphan would not have created any problem for any of the buildings that I have designed, correct? So the point is, so why do we suffer damage and destruction in successive cyclones? And what is the nature of the damage? So let's see what is the nature of the damage. You see, most of the pictures that we see are these hutments, going to, they're shattered, the roofs blown off. And in this picture, last picture, you will see the hutments and shanties have gone down on the earth, but the buildings behind, pakka buildings, they're still there. You look at this picture, what has fallen down, you can see. I can tell you that these structures were not designed for wind. The second picture, the tree has fallen down, it has been uprooted. And I'm going to make one very important statement as a structural engineer about the trees later on, in the end probably. You see this freestanding petrol pump, nothing has happened to it. These are real pictures after Amphan in Kolkata. And there is nothing has happened to this. And this is probably the most liable structure, most probable structure to fall off, because it's open in the air and it's lightweight. But no, it has been well designed. Look at this very lightweight roof and lightweight shade for this hangar at the airport, this Kolkata airport. Nothing has happened to it. So what are we concluding? Now in this picture, you can see the building around the walls are intact, the roof has gone. Of course, the second picture, it's a shanty, and it is natural that it might have gone out. This video that is being played, see what is happening to it. The building has been well designed, but the roof probably was put on later on and may not have been designed by a structural engineer, and it is going out. And so one has to understand what happens to such structures which are not well designed, you know. And as I'm showing you, all this simulation and all these softwares are available to us. Now, for example, in this video, I'm showing you if there is an opening in the building, small hut also, there is pressure at this point and there is a high pressure at this point. So naturally, because of this high pressure and because of the suction, this roof is going to blow away. But this study can be easily made prior to designing a building, and that is a point I'm making. Look at these pictures, uprooting of trees. This is a major problem. Trees fall down on huts and people and the vehicles and all that, and that causes major destruction. Look at these pictures. What has happened? Now, very interesting thing. All these buildings must have been designed by proper structural engineers. Nothing has happened to the building as such. And what has been damaged is these lightweight elevation glasses. These pictures are also from Kolkata during Amphan. And the railings have gone out. The glass has been shattered. The compound wall has fallen down, maybe because the tree has fallen down. So again, these elements which have been affected, probably there was a problem there. And because only some of the glass panes have been shattered, others are intact, there is a room to say that the workmanship or the material specification was not consistent. So this is the point that I'm coming to in the end. So why is there damage during cyclones to buildings? It is very important to know that structural engineering is responsible to make the building sustainable, and sustainability is, of course, it's green, you know, and the increasing the life cycle of the buildings and its components adds to the green building concept is what I feel. So we have seen that undesigned structures like hutments and shanties, they were the most affected. Then undesigned or under-designed connections of secondary structures had caused problems in well-designed buildings as well. So while the building main structure was designed properly, this secondary framework for a glass facade or the roofs, they were ignored, and their material or workmanship could have been of inferior quality. Again, I'm telling you, Amphan had not reached the design wind speeds that has been given in the code, for which all these elements had to be designed. So why this damage? That is the point I'm making. Then poor material choices in cladding or roofing connections, negligence or lack of skill in workmanship, and uprooting of trees is a very important subject that I'm just touching upon. See, the growth of tree, and Mr. Krishan Singhal very aptly demonstrated that there we should not touch the roots and how to protect the roots. My point is the growth of a tree is organic, and the tree will respond to the environment, and the forces that are acted upon on the tree during its lifetime will be sort of noted by the tree, and its growth automatically happens. And if you might have noticed that if a branch of the tree moves, grows in certain direction, its roots also will grow in the same direction to ensure stability and safety of the tree. But we are also talking of cyclones, which are not everyday occurrence. So while tree grows organically by itself to take care of the routine environmental changes or routine environmental forces, it doesn't know that there will be a cyclone in next 10 years of magnitude that may uproot, that will prove that its own strength anchoring in the ground is not enough for that kind of force. So that is why trees fail. I mean, they fail to stand in cyclones. They are not designed for that kind of force. So what do we do? Of course, encourage well-designed structures, even in villages, coastal regions, and slums. And this calls for regulations. So that is why I said I would have been happy if the minister was present here. But I'm sure ASSOCHAM people will send this message to the authorities that we have to promote, we have to make mandatory that structures have to be designed. Maybe it's one room structure or a hut or whatever. It has to be properly designed. Now, this properly designed structures may need more investment. Now, that's a part that government has to look into. But unless we take proper steps, we will keep on doing same seminars again and again. Also, there has to be, just as there is a certification process for the main structural design, I believe that there has to be a mandatory certification of secondary structural design, like facade design or roof design. And it should not be clubbed with the overall structural design. There has to be another.
Sir, excuse me, sir, we have some time limits. So, Madam Sonia, please, sir, we have some time limits.
This is the last slide.
Yeah.
And so
Actually,
minimum
we have
standards for
two
planning
more
and-
speakers here.
This is the last slide. I'm making my point. That's it. And the last point is preserve trees by ensuring their safety and stability. I believe that keeping the tree alive is more important than seeing the green cover all the time. So regular trimming and pruning of trees, especially when there is an early warning of cyclone, I think that is very important to make it safe and stable. So that's it. That is my point. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Madam Sonia, we are unable to hear to you. We are unable to hear to you.
Sonia,
No worries,
please unmute.
no worries. I'll coordinate. She's unmuted. No worries. Next, we have with us Miss Anupma Mitra. She's the Deputy Secretary, Agri Horticulture Society of India. Madam, over to you. Please show madam slides.
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Please show the slides.
Yes, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, green enthusiasts. Am I visible? Am I audible? Hello?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah?
Please.
Yes,
I
okay.
can hear you. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Now, this last month's super cyclone Amphan left a trail of destruction which is not likely to be forgotten in a long time. Nature's fury went reeking. Thousands of trees, as our honorable minister has told, around 15,000 trees were flattened, and not only that, in brutal death of birds, animals, fishes, huge coastal belt, Bengal lied brutally bruised. In the aftermath of the cyclone, the health of a community's tree is the last thing on anyone's mind. Urban green to ensuring safe citizens, mitigating hazards to cleaning debris and restoring public services and utilities. Now, not to go into details of what taken by the department in hand with NDRF, several NGOs, green protectors, I put forward my planning, keeping street trees safe. So there are two components to assess the issue. One is proper tree management plan. The main reason is the phenomena known as wind throw, which my august speaker in my last speaker very well narrated, and how the wind corridor need to be checked before any planning. So how the different parts of tree impact is in its survival. The tree species matters, strength of their wood matters, shape of their crown matters. So it's all in one. That is, branch arrangement determines how much wind they intercept. So cleaning also includes making smooth pruning cuts, broken branches to allow the proper development of new tissues. Now, to restore, these are restoration slides. This is one of the major factors. Agriculturist, arborist, horticulturist. Our major plan to the Amphan is to how to save the trees and not uproot it and throw it out, make it a timber. So that was our one, how to save the trees. Now these are the few points. Those who are interested can. But the major part I want to elaborate. Remember that the stressed trees need to access energy stored in their limbs in order to recover. The stored food is necessary for the tree to sprout, otherwise cause decay. So it is better to leave the tree looking unbalanced than to remove large portion, the life canopy at this time. Shaping can be done later as part of the restoration process. These are the few trees in Agri-Horticultural Society of India, which is a 200-year-old garden. So these are the few trees as an example of restoration, how we have taken care of. A deep hollow pocket of decay caused by termite has happened. Now this hollowness need to be sealed with cement reinforcement or anything need to be packed. So this plumeria got tilted, but it is standing very flushed and bloomed. The base with leaf mold. So this need to be reinforced, and it's standing. Same thing with this slide is the restoration is on. You can see we have not chopped and cut all the twigs and branches. It is still there. The base of the root need to be merged with the leaf mold and all, so that they can have the new roots. Now my next slide is all the mature trees which has gone damaged. Major pruning to alter the tree's structure should not be done at this time. So what I want to mention in the important basis is that you can see this broken part. It's chipping and it's absolutely damaging the entire, is because of it's not being pruned at times. This type of sections, that is the branching section, is good. The U section we call it. It has a prominent collar. So this is a strong branch, but V sections are not strong. So we have to, in its initial stage only, we have to cut the V section. Now, if we see this, as mentioned by my earlier speaker also, a tree should have a cubic feet of soil for the root to expand and develop properly. Environment and urban planning experts say that this should, unfortunately, in the towns, we hardly see 1/5 of the 10 cubic feet to hold their ground. And thus, when the occurs, it give a toss to all the giant trees of the city. Next is my infrastructure. The soil vault need to, Mr. Singhal has already out, the green infrastructure beneath paved service need to be guarded, the grates and guard. I'm especially talking about the avenue trees, the median plantation all around the city, which holds the green crown of Kolkata. Especially I'm talking about Kolkata because of this recent cyclone and what it faced. So all the city green crown need to be protected, the soil vault need to be protected. There are these are the system which can be implemented in as a smart city, as a green city. These things we can, for our future planning, we can go ahead with soil vaults to protect the root anchorage to the ground and to stop vandalism, to make it permeable with good water harvesting system at the base. The inlet pipes which can take all the pollutants and doesn't go to the groundwater system. So that can be because root hairs take a lot of pollutants and it's stored there. So that's what need to be checked. We are planning any further. So the slide which I'm talking about, the root need to be protected so that the tree anchorage is stable. Inlet pipes can be infused inside so that they get proper, and the storm water, the runoff water can be percolated inside the groundwater system. Now, what about the preparedness? How we prepare our city to the next catastrophe? An urban green management plan should consider public and private trees as part, not only public trees, but as a part of private trees also in big building projects. Now, few things. Two most overall objective is to set better practices so that future storms are less devastating. If we see, there are two visions I have put. That is, one, to remove all hazard trees at once. That is, there are several hazardous trees which are wild trees, which are not planned, has come up either through birds, through seeds, to whatever be the process, to remove them. This represents an improved, efficient and lower cost, since need to visit a neighborhood only once to remove undesirable trees. And the goal is to plant newer species, better pollution tolerance for it. So this can be. And secondly, leave hazard trees in place. But this will prove catastrophically costly, and which is happening now, and inefficient if a storm strikes. But nevertheless be the most appealing to the community if it does not process to allocate to tree removal. For time, we don't have such plannings, but in the future plans we can have this plan to be implemented. Now, this is a slide where I want to show if the pruning is not done at the proper time, the tree faces such hazardous hollow infections, from which makes the tree very weak. So these are the, pruning is a very, very strong point to build the structure and to suppress growth on the branches. These are the very important thing to prune it at a very early stage. So my first component is developing on maintaining dominant leader. So you can see on my left, the pruning the stems represented by the dotted lines shortens to third co-dominant stem. We call it co-dominant stems. That is, developing a dominant leader starts by a stem that will make the best leader. Typically, it is the largest stem.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Might be easy for some trees.
Excuse me, ma'am. We need to go a little faster because
Yes.
we are running out of time. Request you to just please.
Right.
Please.
So I will. So these are the structural pruning cycle. This you can see a 40-year-old cycle over the period of 40 years. How in the temporary to be pruned, and then in the 10th or 15th year, how it finally in the 40 years time, how it will be strong in the cyclone. So these are all the initial pruning methods. These are the suggested methods, how it has to be, the yes and no, how the pruning should be done. This can go well to the leaders who are doing actually the cuts and maintaining the green cover of the city. Now let me come, these are the few survival percentage of few trees. As you can see, mango trees, then mahogany trees can sustain 100%. They can sustain the wind factor. So these are very important. These are certain data. Even with the 177 km per hour till 265 km per hour data in the islands in USA, these are the trees which has sustained. These are the resistant among the wind resistant species which we have to in our planning phase. These are all the data. List is generally is with caution. One has to see no tree is completely wind-proof. That what. Now coming to Sundarbans, which is a catastrophe in the whole. We still living in the mega. Understand how it the sustainability factor has to go how to protect human lives. So this is as you UNESCO World Heritage Site, mangrove coastals and all tiger and dolphins. So these needs to be protected. Sustainable socio-economic development need to be how? I mean the poverty how need to be reduced, the biodiversity conservation, the mangrove forest, how it need to be. This is the ecosystem degradation and biodiversity loss in the Sundarbans, almost 6.7 billion a year. So these all need to be checked and not to, I mean, has to be sustained in a manner which we need to look after. So the threats are the soil salinity, the impact of biodiversity, fish production, and potable water. These are the threats of Sundarbans which need to be taken care of. Now the reclamation is the agricultural land. Previously they used to do only one paddy crop during the Kharif season. Now the resilient practice of new land shaping for rainwater harvesting and converting it to a more sizable farm enterprises with we suggest vegetables. Cotton is a next crop, second crop, which we generally we are to all farmers. Crops which can be advised, the cotton guava and oil seeds, and fruit plants can be also cultivated in water of Sundarbans. So these practices, poverty and second crop extra in natives. So the biodiversity issue is the mangrove forest. As you know, this is a bioshield and for Kolkata and for Sundarbans. So this we need to check in a very solid manner. In addition, mangrove forests sequester carbon emission, and as carbon financing opportunities develop, the new mangrove forest could provide. Then realign the embankments. This also is this integrating green infrastructure and traditional green infrastructure will build the biodiversity, will protect the biodiversity. So these are the aquaculture operations which will help to sustain the livelihood. The forestry need to be protected. So extra, not the timber, but the non-timber forest produce need to be taught to the people of Sundarbans so that they don't destroy the forest. And these are the selected programs in Sundarbans by different departments, which will help those who are interested to Department of Fisheries and Department of Tourism for cotton, and Nirmal Bharat Abhiyan is there for water harvesting provided by PhD. So these need checked. Thank you. Because of the paucity of time, green, but let's see how the GEM association, ASSOCHAM, can help out in this. And my thanks goes to Professor Sonia Gupta and Dr. Basu for inviting me to this gathering. Thank you.
Yes, Adupama, so thankful you've taken us to your world of nursing injured, decayed plants and trees and protecting them, if only for our benefit, and also telling us about the biodiversity that could be promoted in salinity as well. Thank you ever so much. And with this, we move to the place which has taken the harsh brunt of both the disasters, not having been spared of similar situations in earlier times too. It is our privilege to welcome Professor Dr. Tuhin Ghosh. Dr. Ghosh is a professor and director of the School of Oceanographic Studies, Jadavpur University, Kolkata. He has more than 2 decades of research experience in coastal geomorphology, disaster management, climate change impacts, adaptation strategies, and human migration. He's a lead author of the IPCC Special Report on the Ocean and Cryosphere in a Changing Climate. He was the India lead of International Research Consortium, NERC UK funded ESP at Delta, Belmont Forum Deltas project, and IDRC DFID funded DECMA project, and currently in UK RIGCRF Living Deltas Hub. This evening, he will take us to the ground reality of the impacts of Cyclone Amphan in Indian Sundarban Delta during COVID lockdown, a case of multiple disaster. Dr. Ghosh, please do take the screen.
Thank you very much. A very good evening to everybody. And I can tell you that as a teacher, 10 minutes is very less for me. We used to talk in 1 hour at least. Okay. So I will not share any kind of slides or something. I think I should not say, because the time is very limited. So I have hundreds of slides and hundreds of photographs, because I have spent 16 days after Amphan in Sundarban in multiple cases. And also during the lockdown, I have spent some time in the Sundarban area. So what I have seen, I will just share some experience with you, that in Sundarban, whatever we say that this is the poverty is there, and it is mostly rural settings. Around 45%, 44% of the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes are there in the population, and there are limited development and infrastructure. And when the 22nd, the curfew was there, and 23rd, the lockdown announced, then the daily life and emergency services disrupted. So there was complete lockdown, and people were suffering from loss of income. So I used to say this is kind of disaster. Okay. And then 20th of May, the Amphan strikes. So another disaster. And I can tell you one thing from my experience, that whenever there is multiple disaster situation, we need to be more cautious, we need to be more careful, and we need to be more prepared. But there was some kind of strong underestimation played in both the cases. And afterwards, I heard so many speeches, statements that due to Corona, we could not prepare much. And after Amphan, due to Amphan, we could not protect the people from Corona. So egg and chicken situation I have seen, I have experienced there. Anyway, so the Amphan struck in 20th. Before that, there was lockdown, and people were really suffering from loss of income and loss of livelihood. So whatever they had, the rice grain in their homestead, some vegetables and fishes from the ponds, that much. They need to buy the grocery, the spices, the cooking fuel and oil and all these things. But where from they will get the money? They were actually depending on their small savings. So this disaster 1 is followed by disaster 2, that is Amphan. And after Amphan, one thing you have noticed in the media, that Amphan has devastated the entire Sundarban. And there are a lot of photographs and videos from every corner of Sundarban. But from my experience, that is not true. Because if we consider Amphan with Ayla in 2009, it's maximum 20% impact of Ayla. Because if you consider the quantification of the breached embankment, in Ayla, more than 1,000 kilometer embankments were breached. But here, in the case of Amphan, only 22 kilometers, whatever I have found from the satellite photographs, imageries. And again, why Amphan was less damaging? Only 2 reasons I can say you. One thing is that the entire time of higher intensity of Amphan, time it was low tide, unlike Ayla. During Ayla, it was high tide. So the pressure on the embankment was much lesser, number 1. Number 2, whenever the high tide came, then the wind direction, earlier it was from the east, it changed towards southwest, and then again completely from west. So it could not put much pressure on the embankments. So just two reasons are there why Amphan is less damaging than Ayla. So the after Amphan also, the daily life and emergency services disrupted. In cities also, there are uprooted trees and all these things. And I was learning from my earlier panelists, those are really fantastic presentations. But if you think about our city trees, which were uprooted, what kind of trees are there which are uprooted? If we tell the local name, I don't know the scientific name of the trees, I'm not a biologist, botanist. Mostly the Radhachura, Krishnachura, Shirish, all these trees uprooted, mostly, because they are shallow level root system they have, and they could not spread their root system just due to protecting with concrete. So they became unstable. It happened. And again, if we consider the Amphan as the second disaster and the disaster case, when we saw that there are a lot of recovery process, reconstruction process on with the machines like JCB and other things. But if we consider the embankment making, we can have the history of embankment construction in Sundarban. They used to make it with the shovel and other things, because there are particular whenever we are using the JCB, the bending capacity of embankments are going to be reduced. So we need traditional systems, and then we use the technology. That's my opinion, personal opinion. And again, whenever we are thinking about this kind of cyclones will come again, and the climate change is responsible. Most cases, the climate scientists are shouting. I'm also so-called within the clan, but I don't believe the climate change is only responsible for this kind of cyclones. If you go back in the history, hundreds of cyclones happened. So only climate change is responsible. It's not true. Number one. Number two, if climate change is as a debate, what we will do? We will climate mitigation, or we will think about the protection of the property, life, and the ecology, ecosystem of Sundarban. What is our preference? We need to think about that, because everywhere it is coming up that these are the responsible things. But what to do? We need some solution. We cannot only say that climate change is responsible for this, and we need to do climate mitigation. So my suggestions or recommendations, rather, I can tell you that we need some kind of long-term mitigation planning towards the risk minimization, and it will actually help the resilience building of the society and the ecosystem. We need some short-term interventions to strengthen this process. So long-term and short-term both. And then we need good plan of preparedness. As I have told that there is strong underestimation. The preparedness was very, very less. And we also need to know how to respond when this kind of event will strike. So these are the recommendations. I will cut short my things speech because a lot of time in the circuit. And also, whenever I am talking about all these things, whether all these mitigation, resilience building, whether we have with us in West Bengal, probably not. If not, then we have to learn from Orissa. Orissa is doing great. After the super cyclone in 1999, they have learned a lot, and they could manage the hudhud, Phylline, even Fani. But why we cannot manage? Then we need to learn from others. If I don't know, okay. And also one thing, just I will try to send you some request or message that you were talking about the green buildings. So you were talking about the green buildings in the cities. The ecosystem of Sundarban is very, very sensitive. Whether we can think about the green buildings in Sundarban also. Just for consideration. Thank you so much.
Dr. Ghosh, thank you so much for revealing to us that Amphan and other cyclones are not only because of climate change, and that we can, with the correct will, prepare ourselves for such devastating phenomena. And yes, also by telling us that green buildings are meant for every place, especially now for the Sundarbans, I think. And we are sorry that you had to probably cut your presentation very, very short, and we were really eagerly listening to your deliberation. But perhaps sometime in future we can do that. We can be in association with you. Question and answers, I'm sorry we won't be able to take because we are really running short of time. What I can request, if the speakers would agree, we can send over the questions to you, and at your own time you could please answer them, and we can get back to those
Sure.
people who are, yeah. Thank you so much, because otherwise we would be taking up too much time on this platform. And now a very, very pleasant task indeed. An expression of gratitude from the bottom of our hearts for the absolutely engaging speakers of this evening. Thank you so much for being with us, Mr. K.C. Singhal. Can I request IT to please do the needful? Yes. So being with us, Mr. K.C. Singhal, thank you ever so much for spending your time and being with us for the whole evening. Thank you, Mr. Girish David. Mr. Dravid, we had to cut your presentation short. Sorry for that. It was very, very, very engaging. Wish we could have gone on. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Anupama. Thank you. Again, we had to cut you short, but I know that it was a wonderful presentation. We were really getting into it when you had to stop. And of course, thank you, Professor Dr. Tuhin Ghosh, for being with us and actually cutting your presentation according to the time we had. Thank you so much. And it is now over to Mr. Rajneesh Agarwal, who is the Chairman, ASSOCHAM GEM Committee for Events and Expo. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Sonia. I think it was one of the most memorable evenings. We at ASSOCHAM have been doing a lot of events, webinars during this lockdown process, and I think this is one time when we have really speeded up our growth, and ASSOCHAM has really grown very well in the last couple of months. All thanks to Mr. Dharkar, whose passion is no less forceful than Amphan. And thank you all dignitaries. Thank you for your impeccable moderation, Madam Sonia. Thank you and welcome to Architect Debatush Sahu, Architect Abin Chaudhary for incoming West Bengal chapter leadership along with the West Bengal team. And of course, all the speakers, the eminent speakers have been thanked already by Madam Sonia, so I'll not take more time. I would like to thank our ASSOCHAM team led by Neeraj, Amit, Rohit, and we will continue to do good work during the lockdown and after the lockdown. And I think we'll be doing a lot of such meaningful programs. Thank you, everyone, for a lovely evening.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rajneesh ji. Thank you so much, Rajneesh ji. Thank you so much for the wonderful vote of thanks. This is the most typical task to when there are so many speakers and it was lots of information in the presentations, so it becomes very difficult to deliver the vote of thanks. So you did wonderful. So now I would like to announce that we have the next webinar on 10th of July. This is along with the Smart Habitat Foundation. We do it. This is our 10th program in the series. We are doing it since last 3 months. The topic is mindset in revival of green and sustainable construction in India, and we have invited eminent developers, consultants, architects for the program. So I would request all of you to please attend this program as well. After that, on 11th of July, we have another wonderful program, which is a panel discussion basically on employability post-COVID era, industry expectations versus education systems preparedness. So this is organized by Pune chapter, ASSOCHAM GEM Council, and AICTE also. So I would request all of you to please join us for these two wonderful webinars also. Now this is the time to say goodbye to all of you, and we will be meeting once again, and we'll be doing good work towards sustainability and green buildings. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and congratulations entire GEM West Bengal team. Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you so much from the West Bengal chapter.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sahu Saab, and congratulations once again.
Thank you.
We are indeed delighted to have a dynamic team here, and thank you all speakers. Extreme apologies for cutting down the time. I think each speaker needed full session, 45 minutes to 1 hour minimum. I think we should do it coming course. Let us consider this as a trailer and do a proper session with each person.
Absolutely.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank
Well
you.
said, sir.
Thank you.
Well said. Well said.
Thank you.